Hello everyone, this is Adrian at First Thinkers. Thanks for coming to my channel. Have you been having students that have big behaviors? Are they shouting out all the time? Are they yelling out? Are they hitting? Are they just making your life miserable and making each other's lives miserable? Well, in this video, we are going to be talking about some strategies that you can use to help your students this year with their behaviors. Now, before we go on, there is a disclaimer I want to talk about. So even though these strategies will help a general classroom, there are some students that may have more troubling issues or just bigger behaviors that can be handled with these strategies. So that's when it's best to use your support at your school. So your social workers, maybe your behavior specialists. If these behaviors are really big and troublesome for your classroom, then definitely get in contact with them. So the first strategy I have to use is Class Dojo. A lot of teachers know what Class Dojo is, but if you don't, I'm just going to give a brief summary of what it is. It's a classroom management system on your computer where students get monsters and you can assign points to them. So that's pretty much the system where you just reward points and you can also take points away. Now, I use this as a currency within my classroom. So rather than giving out like cash or some teachers make their own cash and stuff like that, some kind of currency, I use Class Dojo points. I have a store in my classroom for these Class Dojo points that we do every Friday. And they know every Friday if they save enough points, they can buy some really fun stuff they can do. Some of the things that they can buy in our classroom is flexible seating. So I have certain chairs that they can buy and they can have them for the whole week. I also have couches in my classroom. So they can go read a book on our couches for 20 minutes if they buy a certain amount of time. And then they could also use their Chromebooks on the couches. That's another option I have. I also have indoor recess as an option. Some students are a little bit more motivated by candy. I don't like giving out candy in my classroom, so I put a really high price on it. And I also have books that students can buy. I get them from Scholastic for free because of how many points I have. For like 100 points, they can buy books as well. It's really good to have options in your store that are free, that you don't have to pay anything to have, and it just gives students more privileges. But it's also good to have some higher incentives that students would like, just like I do with the candy and the books. Every week, my students can't wait for the Class Dojo Point store. Something else we do in our classroom is called Friday Fun Day. So Friday Fun Day is just a day that in the week that I chose, which is on a Friday, where students' behaviors, I'll be checking them throughout the whole week through Class Dojo. So if they have a lot of negative points, they will not be able to go. And if they are able to go, I will have fun activities for them to do, like different games. We can do like assisted drawings. Have a lot of games from like Lakeshore that they can play. They can also be on the couch and they can read. While those students that can't do it, they either do a worksheet on their desk, and some students are just not happy that they can't go, that they just decide to do nothing. Now, I try to make it transparent for students that aren't going to be able to go on Friday. So throughout the week, I'll be letting them know where their points stand, how many negative points they have, or how many points I had to take away, and what they'll have to do to be able to go. And if they aren't able to go, it's not a big surprise. They're not arguing with me about it. When the students go and play and start having fun, the students that have to stay there, I pull them back one-on individually, and I talk to them and we discuss what can they do to improve so that they can go to Friday Fun Day next week. And I think that's really crucial to help curb behaviors. And you ask them as well, what can you do next time that you will be able to go to Friday Fun Day? I will honestly say the Friday Fun Day concept has been a game changer for my classroom because every student loves it so much that they try their best throughout the whole week to make sure that they can go. But I think the key to it is having fun activities that students enjoy, and also being transparent with your students and having them discuss how they can improve to do it next week. Something else that we can do to curb behaviors in our classroom is to give positive praise. Students are more likely to respond better by positive praise of someone else's good behavior rather than being shamed in front of their classroom. And I know I've been guilty of it before, where I will tell a student, I don't like the way you're doing this, and kind of in front of everyone, and so they feel ashamed or they feel like they did something wrong and everyone's judging them. That's not a good way to curb behaviors. It may work short term, but it's gonna build not a good classroom environment. So something that's worked with my classroom is making sure I positive praise someone. So if I see someone doing something I don't want to do, like maybe the student down here is not on their pockets while we're on the carpet, I will then say to my classroom, oh, I like how this other student is sitting on their pockets and they're ready to learn. And then almost immediately you will see all the other students that aren't doing it will hurry and take the cue that they need to be on their pockets. Shortly after you have given that cue, I would then check that student again and see if they are on their pockets now, that you give them that positive praise as well. You could also use Class Dojo points to help reinforce the positive behavior. Now, if positive praise isn't helping some students of yours, I would pull them aside and talk to them about how their their current behaviors are hurting their learning and what they can do to help. The next thing we're going to talk about is giving students their voice. Now, many behaviors can also start by students feeling like they're not being heard, they're frustrated, they want to talk to you or share something, but they're not given the time. So in my classroom, I make sure to devote takes about 10 minutes a day to give students about 30 seconds to share whatever they would like with the classroom. If they decide they don't want to share anything, they can be skipped. But if they do, I put a timer up for 30 seconds so that they know how much time they have and to prioritize the things that they want to share that's important to them. And I think this helps because everyone wants to feel validated and to be able to talk without being interrupted. If you have first graders, some of them just don't understand social cues or understand that when someone else is talking, they don't talk or interrupt. So you need to set boundaries and you need to set expectations when doing this. So before we start, every time I go over the expectations, what it looks and sounds like when someone else is talking, and to not interrupt. The last tip I want to give to help with behaviors in your classroom is on discipline. There's always times where you've gone through all your strategies and nothing's working, so you need to give consequences to what the student has done. It's really good beforehand to be proactive on this and to already have your expectations and guidelines set for your students and to be clear and concise in what will happen if students do not follow those. So it's great to be matter of fact when dealing out consequences, that there's really no emotion attached to it. It's just like, I'm sorry, you broke our rules, and so this is what's happening. So I have my positive and my negative consequences listed for students to see throughout the day. If they make a good choice, they can see what will happen to them, or if they make a bad choice, what will happen. I also have students help me create these so that they feel more vested in it and they don't question on why. Maybe some students will say, well, that's not fair, I don't want to do that. Well, then you can say, well, you helped make these and this is what we decided together as a class. It just leads to less arguing. I hope these strategies help you with behaviors in your classroom. Behaviors this year for me have been pretty hard. I have a lot of students that want to talk over students. I have a lot of students shouting out. I have a lot of students not understanding personal space or not touching each other. Having all these systems in place will help your classroom where it can actually function and allow learning to happen. If you have any questions or you have any comments on this topic, go ahead and leave a comment down below. If you liked this video, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. I'd really appreciate the support, and I'll see you in the next one.